this is going to be the Thamasa review. It's the second review period in the seed, and it's going to be its own episode just like the nurse review was. So this time, instead of rating the characters in the order of their appearance, I've actually got them set up in the order of their ratings, from best to worst. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with our highest rated character. So we have Maria, who random in Mog's spot. So the thing about Maria is the reason that she's up at the top is, one, yes, okay, so her only fault, like, obviously, Absolute Zero Atomic Ray is a great combination skill, and the fact that it's a question mark, which means it can happen a random amount of times, is even better. Her magic power stat is 37, which is not too shabby for throwing out stuff like that. Pretty dang good. Now, normally her rating would go down because those are both elemental skills, so ice and fire. So there's going to be things that it's just not going to do damage to sometimes, might heal them in fact. And in that case, it's pretty bad. However, she makes up for it by having the Mimic command, which means she just becomes whatever other best character on the team is, with a 37 magic power stat. So, yeah, she's pretty much a jack of all trades. Having a Mimic command pretty much guarantees that you're going to get a decent rating in my playthroughs. Mimic is just good. It just makes you good. She doesn't have any espers she can equip just yet. So there's no telling how good her magic's going to be. But, you never know. And as far as the weapon she's equipping, I didn't even really pay attention to what her weapons are, because there's no point, right? She's going to be throwing out Absolute Zero and Atomic Rays, and she's going to be mimicking other things from our other really good characters. So I would definitely rate her at a solid 10. She is at a 10 for our best character in this seed so far. So she won't be leaving the party for quite some time. Alright. Let's move on to Elena. Okay, so when I first got her, obviously her utility was going to be dependent upon whether or not we got access to Quake protection, right? Well, we do. And since then, she's been ripping the earth asunder with her free Quake spell. Yes, there's been some things that it hasn't hurt, and of course it takes up a lot of relic slots, and in Partha's case, armor slot to prevent Quake damage, or to be healed by it, but it's such a good spell to have for free. It's AoE, not a lot of things are resistant to Earth unless they're flying, so yeah, it's just really good. She's really good. Her magic power isn't the best, but sometimes just the sheer power of a spell makes up for bad magic power. So, and her magic power isn't bad, it's just not the best where it could be. And you need to get down, Fairy Cat. Get down off my table. Butt face. Anyway, so all that being said, I would put Elena at probably an 8. And she's just that good. I think she's an 8. She's not quite a 10 or a 9 in my book, because Quake is still kind of iffy. But yeah, definitely an 8. So, moving on to Granny, our main character. So she has Cure 3 as a command. She's been good since the beginning of the game for that reason. Her magic list is starting to fill out a little bit. She's got Pearl now, and yeah, she's getting better and better. Like, when you start out that good with decent magic power and Cure 3 as your command, you're gonna stay good, you know? Cure 3 is used throughout the game. Once you get it, you just want it, and you're gonna use it a lot. So, yeah, her ability to heal us, and to a lesser extent, her magic list, which is building, is pretty dang good. So, yeah, Granny, our old lady, obviously an 8, right? Tied with Elena for utility and other things. She's not doing the damage that Elena's doing, but she is there to heal us, which is needed. Okay, so Granny's an 8. Moving on to Partha. Okay, so I considered not rating her so high, but at the same time, the more I thought about it, the better she seemed. So, one, she's got the Gaia gear equipped, which no one else on our main team can equip. Which means when Elena throws Quake, she's getting healed by it. So that played in. She still doesn't have any weapons she can equip outside of the Empowered. That's a problem. But her R-time ability is what's making her rated so high, right? So it's got, like I said in the last review, it's got Meteor, Quasar, Quick, X for X Zone, Stop, Slow, Slow 2, Haste, Haste 2. Just the list goes on and on. It's all-time magic, and she has a chance to roll big fat damage. There's nothing that I've seen rolled out of it outside of Discord that has been bad. So if she rolls something not optimal on hard time, it's still not bad that she rolled something, right? And she's got Stray equipped, so her magic list will have something in it. Yeah, so Partha, very good, cool sprite, cool skill, adding a lot of flavor to the team. So she is going to be at a 7. I would rate her as a 7, because it's still a random command. So randomness is not usually, is usually detrimental to a rating that I would give a character, but yeah, the fact that she has our time is awesome. Despite it being random, it's always throwing something decent. So Partha is a 7. Okay, so I juggled these two around a lot, and I came to the conclusion that they're tied. But let's go ahead and talk about Garnet first, because she's the first in line here. So, as I said before, like in the nurse review, she has jump and the dragon horn, so she does multiple jumps. But where it really comes down to it is tech barrier blowfish. She, for free, is doing 1,000 damage. So anytime she ends up on the team, she's not useless, you know? Yes, we would rather have a different character on the team as opposed to her, but her being on the team is not a bad thing, right? So Blowfish obviously is doing 1,000 damage. The only problem that I would say about Tech Barrier Blowfish, which I was mistaken the last time that I said it, it did not throw a Tech Barrier on enemy and then for some reason throw a Blowfish on us. It was that if you target an enemy with Tech Barrier Blowfish and that enemy dies before they get to throw it, before she gets to throw it, it retargets, and for some reason the targeting always turns around on us. So you Tech Barrier your party member and then you Blowfish them. So that is a problem. You just have to be real careful with throwing it, but that makes it a little bit more fun to try and like make sure we're doing that right. But regardless, she's okay. She's had the Swordbreaker for most of the game for her damage and stuff, but yeah, so I would put her at a 6. I mean, she's throwing out consistent 1,000 damage, so yeah, she's definitely a 6. Alright, and then we go to Katherine. So Katherine, despite not having a magic command, is pretty good just because of lore. As I said in the last review, right? So she built her lore list up a little bit more because of, well, really she didn't build her lore list up more. She did for a moment with a couple of things like Pearlwind and Midgard, but we haven't even used those yet because we just got them. Really where her utility came in was Quasar, except for the fight with the Flame Eater. That was sick. That was an awesome strategy to beat the Flame Eater, and that seems to keep happening, is that I have to really bust out some weird strategies against the Flame Eater, and this time it just so happened to be Katherine exploding over and over and over for damage. Because Exploder is non-elemental damage, so it'll always hit. It always does whatever your current HP total is. And at the time it was 800 and something, because I believe I had her with the red cap on, which was giving her more HP. But yeah, she was crushing it, and she was the reason we won that fight. So that was cool. She's able to throw a few more Quasars now because she has more MP. I think she can throw up to 3 before she runs out of MP. But yeah, that's pretty much the only utility we found out of her. Vanish has not been used at all. It's not really helping us one bit. And her physical damage isn't that great. So Katherine's right there with Garnet for the spot for being rated a 6. Just because she's another character that if she ends up on our team, it's not a big deal, but we would rather replace her with somebody else. So yeah, Katherine, also a 6. Okay, now we start at the bottom, at the top of the bottom of the barrel, if you will. So we just got Dirt, Realm, whatever, and she's our Dancer character, who we named Dancer. So Net Shell, I can't ever see us using. It is not great at all. Best case scenario, it stops our enemy and shells them. Worst case scenario, it can't stop the enemy but shells them. And then if we want to put shell on one of our party members, we have to take a risk on them getting stopped as well. So I assume that it's Net Shell. I don't know of any other attack that starts with SHEL, but I haven't tried Net Shell yet to see if that's actually what it does. I'm just almost certain that's what it is. Why she's at the top of the bottom of the barrel is because of our party. As I was using it against Ultros, I realized, oh crap, well this is kind of like our Bless, only better. You know, when I had our Bless with Arson in the last seed, that I barely used it, but our party seems like something that you get a lot of use out of. It's a lot of healing spells. It is just everything that can give you good stuff for your party. Like, Big Guard came out of it, Whirlwind came out of it, the Wild Bear came out of it that healed us, and things like that. So, while it's random, obviously that is a detriment, it's always pulling out pretty good skills. So, Dancer, despite not being that great still, she doesn't have a magic command, and she's got an awesome magic power stat. That's still good, because I think she's equipping Bismarck, which is giving her magic power +2 on level up, so our party stuff is going to do more for us, just with the better magic power, but still not really that useful. So she is sitting smack diddly in the middle at like a 5, right? She's a 5, almost down to a 4, but let's move on. Okay, Rachel. Rachel got a bump up here, just for very obvious reasons. So Rachel, still crap. Still crap. It is definitely a 1. Pretty much the rest of these characters are all 1s, if not worse. So I would say Rachel's still a 1. Nothing's changed. W Exploder. I mean, what can be said about that? Question mark Heal Force. Again, only targets one character and repeatedly heals them. Not great when we have access to Cure 3, or whenever we get access to magic, period, that heals us. There's no reason to ever have her on the team. She has no magic command either, and can't equip that great stuff. Rachel, sadly, is a 1 still, and will probably remain there, and probably remain on the airship. Alright, Olivia. Still a 1. Not sure. I think I checked her Espers and she couldn't equip anything fantastic, so that didn't even help her. Our all is hit everyone, unfocused magic attacks, like I said. Our level is useless. There is a piece of equipment, I believe it was the Dragoon Boots, that she could equip that would turn our level into just the Dispel spell as a command. Could be useful in niche situations, like say if somebody was hitting us with a Berserk attack and we didn't want that, or Confuse, say, we could Dispel it. But we're not really going to be worried about doing that. We're not going to bring her along just for the chance that that might happen, right? So Olivia is still sitting at a 1 as well. Not good. Sadly, she's going to be sitting on the airship for a while, too. Okay, so Setzer is White Mage. This is a character that is, I think I would put her at a 0, actually. Yeah, she is at a 0, right? Not a 1, a 0. Even if she has magic, like Esper, she can equip to get decent magic. Her magic power stat is 17. There's no increasing that stat unless she can equip an Esper that gives her magic power plus, but then I have to level her, so... And then Launcher, what needs to be said. Launcher is terrible. It does percentage-based HP, might be good against, like, big mobs or something to do a decent amount of damage, but it's never going to kill anything. It's never going to be something like, oh, we threw Launcher and we won. Nothing like that. So yeah, White Mage, definitely, because, 1 is where I leave it at the lowest on the list, but I'm giving her a 0. She is a 0. Okay, and then we have this character who I still have no idea who it is. I've looked up everything. I can't tell. I don't know. But where White Mage is a 0, this character is a -1. Number 1, I don't know who they are, so I have no attachment to them whatsoever. Number 2, Slimer. Slimer is their unique attack. Doesn't do damage. Does a status effect I don't even care to try and remember because it's not helpful. Has morph, but what else, right? So I can morph. I don't have a magic command, so I can morph and I can do more damage with attack, but she's equipping, like, swords, right? Nothing incredible. The only way she's ever probably going to be good is if she ends up with, like, an Illumina or something, but the chances are slim of that. I didn't even find one in the last seed. And as far as I know, Ghost Arrow has the only Illumina in the game. Who knows? But yeah, she's totally useless. Like, how are you going to have a magic power stat of 40 and no magic command, and not even any magic unique skills? You know, she's just terrible. She's a terrible character, and that face terrifies me. I tend to play video games real late at night. It's almost 2 in the morning. I'm staring at this face, and I'm looking over my shoulder like, ugh, ugh. So yeah, Mist is a -1. As far as the seed goes, okay, let's talk about the seed. So, the first real big challenge I ran into was definitely Flame Eater. The fight was fun. The way we got through it was fun. Just the moment my brain went, hey, that's how we can do some damage, and then we actually pulled it out that way. That was so cool. So, that was a fun fight. That tends to be how that fight goes nowadays. Like, that's the one that I run into that always needs some kind of weird strategy to get through. Like last game, it was the Blaze Force Field thing to make fire ineffective, and then breaking ice rods. This time, I couldn't even break ice rods on the dang thing because it wasn't weak to ice. So I had to think of some other way to do damage, and lo and behold, Katherine just exploded 4 times on it, which was awesome. So as far as the characters go, I'm really happy with Maria. Elena, I'm cool with Granny. Partha, I'm probably the happiest with, just because of the sprite. I really like these sprites, I just don't like the characters. They ended up pretty bad. Katherine's returning, Garnet's technically returning, because she was Dagger in our Villain Redemption Arc seed. The Dancer sprite is cool, despite not being incredibly helpful. There is that little bit of a theme there with the fact that she's a dancer, and she's doing party skills that affect everyone. It's kind of like doing a dance and tactics. It's pretty neat. Rachel's portrait is god-awful. I hope I never get this sprite again just because of the portrait. It literally looks like, and I hate to be mean to the person who made the portrait, because obviously, again, you have to work with what you have to work with, but it looks like a really bad MS Paint job. Like, or just a really bad Photoshop, like, of Terra with a black wig on, right? Not a fan. This character, again, that's the blind spot. I don't like that sprite. I don't like that profile picture at all. Chances are I'll find out this is a character that I really like from something that I just don't recognize, and yeah, I'll be upset that I shit-talked it so much, but I am not a fan. Olivia is cool. I loved her from Tactics. She looks neat in this. It's just a shame we can't use her. Same with the White Mage. Never seen a White Mage shoot missiles at stuff before. But yeah, as far as the sprites, they're okay. Pretty good for a ladies' night. And our theme continues with collateral damage, because Elena is still on our team, still throwing quakes. So, yeah, it is definitely ladies' night, collateral damage edition. And when it comes to the decision of whether or not we're going to continue this seed, obviously we are. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to try and beat this dang thing. And we have a few more characters to get in the World of Ruin anyway. And then I did also forget Rydia, but at the same time, I can't really rate her right now because she's not with me, and I haven't used her for a minute to see if she had any more improvements. She's still sitting where she was before in the rating. I don't even remember what I... Excuse me. I don't even remember what I rated her. but yeah, that's the extent to which I'm willing to rate everything. I'm very glad that we got Quake Protection from Elena. That made her good. If we had never found that, Elena would probably be a 1 right now. If we'd never found Cherub Down, if we'd never had access to Float, and if we'd never found a Geiger, Elena would never have seen the light of day, probably. She would still be in Narsh, now she would still be sitting in the airship. So, as of right now, the job of sitting in the airship is up to these 5 here, because they're never going to leave. So either way, that is the end of the Thamasa review. We are going to continue the seed. We're going to go to the World of Ruin. And I will do that in the next episode. By the way, I figured I should tell you. Obviously, you'll see it after it's put up. This is kind of an update to how I'm doing videos now. I'm no longer going to be putting up full videos of my playthroughs. They're way too long. People probably don't want to sit there and watch 2-hour-long videos. So from now on, for every seed, I'm doing highlights only from each part. As far as the Narsh review and Thamasa review, those will not be highlights. Those will be in the highlight video reel, and it will say that they're highlights, but they are going to be these full videos in between each. So, basically review period videos. So, in that way, you'll get a lot of the highlights from each episode, right? From each part, and get kind of the gist of the seed. But then, if you want to know more, that's when you'll be able to see these reviews, and these are straight videos of me talking about each character, so I don't really have to, you don't have to watch full videos to know their usefulness and what they can do and what kind of things happen all the time. The highlights will show a lot of it anyway, but this is kind of like a primer for the rest of the game, right? So you'll see the full Narsh review for the first little quarter, then you'll see this, and then the rest of the episodes will continue to be highlights all the way up to the end when we fight Kafka. But yeah, I'm the full videos playlists you're gonna see are only Villain Redemption Arc and the first seed we did, Villain Redemption Arc, and Adventures of Leo and Leon. There are not going to be any more full video playlists or full videos put up, only highlights. So it saves me time, and it's honestly more fun. There's no reason to be putting up full 2.5-hour, 3-hour videos, especially the upload time takes forever. But now that that's been said and I've got that out there, next time I see you guys, we will be heading to the floating continent and making our way into the World of Ruin. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace.